Hello, Notre Dame parents. My name is Tom Guinan. I'm the Associate Vice President for Operations with Notre Dame International, and I'm joined here by my good friend and colleague, Phil Johnson, who will tell you a little bit about himself.
Hi, my name is Phil Johnson. As Tom said, I'm Senior Director of Campus Safety and Emergency Management. Um, I'm pleased to be here today to talk about safety for the Notre Dame International program, and I have been, as Tom has been, in the seats that you're in. We both have sent a son or daughter abroad. In my own case, my spouse and I were sending a daughter to Argentina. And frankly, it wasn't on a Notre Dame program, and it gave us greater pause because I know what good work is being done with NDI around health and safety. And so I can identify with concerns of a parent sending someone abroad for study for either an extended time or a short summer program.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And that's a good point to start off with, that many of you have sent students abroad already. You may be sending the same student abroad again in the coming summer. I think we found here at Notre Dame International that students travel abroad often and as often as possible while they're here at Notre Dame. And so we welcome you if you're new parents sending students abroad, or if you're veterans who have sent and retrieved students from abroad. Today, we're going to talk a little bit just about some health and safety considerations that you and as parents may be focused on, but that we also would like you to share with your students, and hopefully your students will share them back with you as they prepare to travel abroad, and then while they're abroad, and perhaps even when they get home. So just a couple of bits of background. We're primarily focused in this webinar on the summer programming, which is the period of time where we have the most diverse programming, not only here at Notre Dame International, but across campus. We send well over 1,000 students abroad during the summertime. It's the most active period for us in terms of sending students abroad, and it's the most diverse in terms of locations and types of programming. And so the principles and the protocols that we'll talk about are the same, but the magnitude and the volume of students abroad is different, and it's elevated somewhat. We have some considerations to start off with, and these may be intuitive, but it's important for us to say them to you as parents so that you understand the environment in which the students will be conducting their programs. Again, it's obvious to say this, but Notre Dame doesn't control world events in the sense that things may happen while your students are abroad in a given location that are unexpected, that are personal incidents that may happen to them. They may injure themselves, they may lose personal belongings, and there could be external events. There could be natural disasters, political events. We want you to be aware that while we prepare students as much as possible to deal with these events, and we offer them support in various ways, that they may happen and we just can't predict them. And so that's something, as a parent, it may be a little bit unsettling, but in the same way, it's something that we just have to live with in terms of where we're sending the students and the importance of them being abroad.
Sure, and Tom and I were speaking in my own case, our daughter away from us for the first time for and thousands of miles in Argentina. She became ill during that period of time, and we had to work through an issue there. Could have happened anywhere, but it was that there was a distance, and we certainly understood that she also was the victim of a street crime and a robbery. And again, that could have happened in Chicago or New York or anywhere here in South Bend. But it happened while she was far away. The difference is that there was those miles between us, and we supported her through the phone, and it was probably harder on us than it was on her, honestly.
Yeah, and things do happen, and students do adapt, and they learn how to take care of themselves in certain ways, but they also know that there are resources available to them. And speaking of students in terms of their preparedness, the fundamental fact about students going abroad is that we tell them, and they find out quickly, that they are the most important resource when it comes to maintaining their own health and safety. So they will quickly learn their surroundings. They should be aware of resources they have available to them in terms of third-party partners who may be on the ground with them, fellow students. If they're in a Notre Dame Global Gateway location, they have Global Gateway staff who can support them. We also make sure that they understand that they have global health insurance that allows them to access medical care just about anywhere on the planet, and most likely in the location where they are. We have great relations with U.S. government resources in our gateway locations, and we also advise students to keep up to date on State Department notifications in the countries that they're located through the STEP registration process. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I also wanted to emphasize that you as parents are resources for your students, in the sense that students may have somewhat minor concerns, trivial concerns, may have very real concerns about how do I get money? Do I have money in my bank account? Does my cell phone have enough minutes left on it? So you are resources to the students, just like you expect them to sort of be resources to you as they keep you posted on their activities while they're abroad. And as Phil mentioned, and his story resonates with me because as parents, students encounter any number of things while they're abroad, and some of those concerns are similar to if they were here on campus, but they just happen to be enhanced by the distance.
Sure. There's a great benefit of having the student having worked through all those issues with the support of, in our case, the Global Gateway,
Yeah.
or if they're in another location, sometimes our partners, whether they be local government or third party, but the students come back with a great sense of and a better understanding of resilience, and it's really a remarkable experience.
Yeah.
Having
even
studied abroad.
Even in a very short period,
Yeah,
some of the students may be going 3 weeks or 6 weeks, but it can change them, and it's very, very impactful to them and to you as parents. So in terms of preparation, we do require students in one form or another to attend safety summits, we call them, but essentially these are orientation sessions that present to the students issues that have commonly been encountered by peer students or students who have traveled abroad before them. We focus on the mundane to the very significant and impactful. The mundane being, make sure you maintain your physical health, understand that your habits may change because of different foods that may be available to you, make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you understand the local culture in terms of how to behave, but also make sure you understand the political environment you may find yourself in and the geographical environment, in the sense that we do have programs in locations where earthquakes are not uncommon, volcanic eruptions are not uncommon, and it sounds dramatic and unlikely, and it is, but we don't want students to be unprepared if they are in a location, for instance, in Australia, where they have volcanic activity off the coast on some of the islands, and in Italy, where earthquakes are relatively frequent. So these are the kind of things that we prepare the students for, and we do find ourselves responding to them at least once or twice a semester to some of these larger scale events, but mainly we deal with in the smaller scale, as Phil said, physical illness, anxiety, and things like that, but we prepare them for everything.
Right, right.
And we did want to talk a little bit about specific roles and responsibilities. I think Phil and I, we both remember clearly the events in London late March of 2017, where there was an attack on the Westminster Bridge and then by the Houses of Parliament. We worked closely during that incident together with our colleagues in the London Global Gateway and other venues in Europe. And while no event is the exact same in terms of how you would respond, I think the students themselves performed remarkably well in terms of acting on the training and the guidance that we had given them, in the sense that we advise students in a situation where they may find themselves compromised, or they may need to reach out to their peers or their parents or their resources on the ground, simply to be aware that something has happened. London is a big city, and if you're not right in the location, you may not even be aware that there was an attack on the bridge that is making international news. So we advise students, pay attention to what's happening, and be aware then that if somebody may be trying to contact you, turn your phone on, turn your data on, reach out to your parents. I think that's something we talked about. Sure.
We, in the case of London, we were concerned about our 9 students at Parliament, but we were also concerned about other students who've been traveling in the city, and we did a reach out using a notification system that we have at our London and Rome locations.
Right, that's right.
So students are asked to check in and let us know. And we had accountability very quickly, and I think the students appreciated it. So all the students should be registered in STEP. It's one of our requirements. That's a State Department program to keep us informed as travelers internationally of important happenings. So the State Department might notify us of an emergency in Chile, or if we're in Rome and there's an earthquake outside of Rome. If students get a STEP message, they should be in touch with you as parents. That would be our request. I also would urge you to plan what in emergency management we call the operational rhythm. When do you want to hear from your son or daughter? When are the check-ins scheduled? What's comfortable for your family? And make sure that people are checking in saying, hey, I'm okay, or I'm having fun, or I'm on my way here or there, and whatever works for you. That is one, I think, of the biggest questions we get at the university is, I haven't heard from my son or my daughter for some period of time, and just trying to get some help checking in with them. And then we'll reach out through our local staff. But that's something we hope that every student will take responsibility for, is keeping in touch with their loved ones at home in a way that everybody agrees to before they leave.
Yeah, that's a great point, Phil. And it applies to, as Phil mentioned, routine situations, weekly check-ins, and it becomes much more important than during the emergency situations. And in the case of emergency situations, as Phil mentioned, we do expect that if a student gets a notification from the State Department or for any other resource, that they do contact you as parents. I think in our role at Notre Dame International, we attempt to reach out directly to the students. And as in the case with the London incident, we get a large-scale response back from the students, but we still had to find a handful of students who weren't accessible for whatever reason. And we look to the parents, and sometimes the parents look to us to kind of triangulate that confirmation, just to make sure that we know the student is safe, we know where they are, or if they need assistance, that we can reach out to them. So I'll just re-emphasize what Phil had mentioned. Make sure you have a good, reasonable, and it can be an evolving communication plan. So as your student gets to their location, you may contact more frequently with them. But as they progress through the program, you say, I'm used to it, they're used to it. We don't have to speak so regularly, but have some sort of preferred acknowledged method of communication. And then also be aware of your students' travel plans, especially on weekends. If the student decides to leave their location, make sure in some way, whether it's a text or an email, that they just say, I'm going to this location, I'll be back on Sunday evening or Monday morning, because it gives you a sense of whereabouts, well-being, and it helps us to help them in the event that something happens, if you and we know where they are real time. We do also have resources available to you as parents in the event that you need to reach out to the university. If you have some concerns and you can't seem to get in touch with your child, you can contact the university. We have two resources, and they're available on our website. We'll share with you. One is the Notre Dame Security Police 24/7 number, which is a local number in South Bend, 574-631-5555. They know how to get information to us at Notre Dame International, and we can then quickly respond and help you and help your child. And we also have a 24/7 cell phone support line that is available, that's specific to Notre Dame International, 574-339-6154. We'll have this information is on our website. You'll be able to access that information at any time. The last point I'd like to make in this presentation is that we have frequently asked questions on our website, and we also want to make sure that we keep that as up to date as possible. I think parents such as yourselves have given us these questions, and we've collected them and collated them and put them out onto our website. You can always submit questions to the Notre Dame International General Mailbox about specific programs or about how we operate our programs in general, and you can refer back to that at any time. There's some great information there, information that will help ease your mind, answer your questions, or perhaps enhance the communications that you want to have with your children before they leave, while they're abroad, and then after they return home.
And I'm certain you're having conversations with your son or daughter about how to be safe, just as you would if they were traveling anywhere, whether they're on their own in an urban center or in a rural location, anywhere in the world. Situational awareness, being aware of their surroundings, looking out for one another, keeping in touch. My daughter calls this Captain Obvious, so I don't apologize for that, but I think those are things that you just want to bring to the forefront of students' minds about safety and travel safety. And we're happy to point you to a number of resources about travel safety rather than to go through all those today. But do have those conversations, regardless of how crazy or awkward your son or daughter might think that is. It's important to raise those issues. And
Captain Obvious, I like
Captain
that.
Obvious.
I've not heard that. I won't use that. Thank you, Phil.
It's said in the most endearing way,
absolutely,
I'm sure.
Absolutely. So. The final point we would want to emphasize is that, as we started at the beginning, these are incredibly transformational experiences for your children. And our job here is to help them focus on the experience itself and not be distracted by things that could happen. And if things do happen, just to help them respond and to be prepared for eventualities. It is going to be a great time for your students as they go abroad, whether it's for a week or for 6 weeks, or if they're going abroad next term for 3 or 4 months. And you will hopefully have somewhat of an easier mind as you send them abroad and keep track of them as they're abroad, and then welcome them back home. So thank you for your time today. Phil, thank you for your expertise.
You're welcome, Tom. Thanks. Go safely, everyone.
Thank you.